Hi there YouTube friends and family and acquaintances. I've got a bit of a request for you, and it is just that, a request. You can turn it down if you like, and it's a really unusual one, so I will completely understand if you don't want to go along with it. But and it's a particularly unusual one if, like me, you are not of a religious persuasion, i.e. you don't believe in a deity, so you don't do things like worship or have a concept like the sacred, and you don't pray, because I'm going to ask you to pray in a minute. And then I'm going to tell you what the reasons for that are. The backstory is this, and I'm not trying to embarrass anyone here, but the backstory is that I got a text from my sister last night saying that my mum, who some of you will have heard about, I've been talking about her occasionally for years, my mum is on her way out right now. And yeah, this is probably her last night on the planet. She's with a palliative care nurse. She's not in any pain, but as soon as she does start to feel any pain, she has drugs available to administer, which are notionally painkillers, but I think we all know what that means. It's the big pain that's going to be removed from poor old Elsie's being later on today. And the text that my sister sent me said, "I know we're not religious, Fred, but let's pray," she said. And I don't know what she meant by that exactly, but she certainly didn't mean pray in a religious sense. And I had to kind of communicate the information to my children, my lads, which I did again by text, and pretty much communicated what my sister said. You know, that this might be a good moment to do something like praying. But of course, my kids aren't religious either, and they've had no religious experience. At least I had a little bit of a glimpse of what religion might mean when I was a kid. So they don't really know what prayer is, I don't think. And one of my kids texted back saying, "I don't really know what that means, I don't know what to do." You know, I'll do with that bit of it. But it did give me pause about, well, what do I mean? Because I kind of knew what my sister meant, or I knew how to respond to that request. And it is about, and I've been doing it. I haven't been talking to anybody. I don't believe in God. And I haven't been asking for anything, because I don't think there's anything to ask for, or anybody to ask, you know, to make petitions to. So maybe it isn't praying, but whatever that prayer thing is, I've been doing it, but it hasn't included deities or requests. It's more like, and this is what I'm going to ask you to do in a minute. So if you're already uncomfortable and you think this is not for you, now's the time to get out. But what I've been doing, it just feels appropriate, really. It's just trying to put myself into the mind of the people involved, and align myself with that, with the thing that's happening right now, really. You know what I mean? So I'm imagining what my sister feels like. My sister's got a great deal of contact with my mum. She's just been a stalwart, looking after her and going up to see her once, twice a week, because she's in a care home, you know, and doing everything for her, you know, dressing her, changing her, doing all the things that he's doing, just absolutely fantastic. And so I'm kind of, mentally, I'm kind of with my sister and imagining the things that she's going through right now and putting myself in her position. And I'm also putting myself in the position of my brother. I've got a brother who works in the oil rigs, who's up in Norway right now, so he's out in the, wherever that is, the North Atlantic, I don't know, somewhere. He's out there anyway, and not very contactable, and certainly won't be back in time for anything. So I'm thinking about him and how he must be feeling, and other kind of more tangential relatives. We haven't got a lot of relatives in my family, but other people who, if they knew about it, would be thinking about it. And even the people who are no longer with us. Like, I've got a brother who died when he was a kid, and yeah, he's not around. You know, I'm not thinking about what he's thinking right now, but I'm kind of including him in the thought process. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a story here that I'm putting myself in, a tide of history that I'm aligning myself with, that includes the people who are relevant. And of course, particularly my mum, who is, as I say, she can't swallow. She hasn't been able to eat for a couple of days. She's on her way out. But last time I saw her on Mother's Day. And she did actually speak on Mother's Day. It was the first time she'd spoken for a couple of weeks. Took her a bunch of flowers, and she just said, "Lovely flowers, she said." But all the time she has this really beatific smile, you know, and these little blue eyes. And you know, it's hard to know exactly what's left when you're talking to a really old person sometimes, but a person you're absolutely speaking to in quite a, it felt like in quite a pure sense. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that's what it felt like last time I spoke to her on Mother's Day. That you know, it's a person that's kind of almost unblemished by the confusions of day-to-day life and memories and those kind of things. You just kind of seeing the person in the most raw state almost. And so part of me is absolutely, along with my brother and my sister and my dead brother and other members of the family, and that tide of history which runs through us. My dead father, you know, my dad died quite a few years ago now, and I was estranged from him, so I never really knew him that well, but I do remember his passing and getting a bit of a jolt at that, and having to put myself in his position for a while to deal with that. So and I'm with Clive, my dad, again right now as well, in addition to the people I've just mentioned. You know, and everybody they've touched. You know, it's. I don't think this makes any sense, so I apologise for not making a great deal of sense. And if you're a person who prays in the more conventional sense, you probably think I'm just misusing the term, and I apologise for that. And if you're an atheist and thinks a prayer is stupid, then again, this probably isn't the video for you. But that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to be doing when I remember, sporadically, for the next few hours until it's all over. If you feel like joining me, it's not a big deal, obviously. But if you feel like joining me in it, that's it really. You don't have to say anything or imagine the deity. Just see these people, really. And I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.